Hello everyone, and welcome to another locomotive review from Class 47 Peter. And in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a new release, and we're going to be having a look at the Oxford Rail N7 tank, which is something I've been looking forward to for a while now. At the moment, 3 versions are due to be released. There's this one, which is the first one that's been released, and the only one of the 3 that's been released at the moment, at the time this video is uploaded. There's 2 other versions as well, LNER Black and BR Line Black as well. This is the one I wanted. This is number 1002 in the GER grey livery. Now I've seen pictures of this model and it looks stunning. I also saw the decoration samples at Worley last year and it looks stunning. And I just can't wait to get this model open and have a look at it. So let's get cracking, shall we? Let's get this review on track. Now this will be the second review I've done of an Oxford Rail loco, but at the moment it's the first Oxford Rail loco that I own. I'm sure some of you are probably thinking, well, what about the Dean Goods? Well, I sold the Dean Goods off last year because I didn't really use it that much, to be honest. It spent most of its time with me on display rather than being ran, if I'm honest, because I did stop using it after a while. But anyway, so we'll remove the outer box sleeve. I do quite like the colour of the packaging, very nice and colourful. Then we have the model in the packaging. I mean, just look at that. That does look stunning. So then we have the instruction manual. Or with a bit of screws there, I'll just get rid of those. So then we take away the empty packaging. And then we have the instruction manual for the N7. You can see we have a photo of a real N7 on the front there. Gives you a bit of brief history of it on the front there, which is quite nice, so you can pause and read that if you want. On the back it gives you a few hints and tips. Locomotive body maintenance and track cleaning, safety notes and the railway controllers. Then inside it talks to you about fitting brake rodding and couplings, the diagram where to do so, running in and the locomotive lubrication, and removing the locomotive body to fit a DCC decoder. So I'll put that to one side, and I'll put it in my folder later where I keep all my instruction manuals. Then we take away the outer plastic sleeve for the box, and then we have the little accessory bag. I'm not going to take some close-ups of it because we only really have 2 detail parts in here, being a couple of vacuum pipes there. But I'll put those to one side and fit them on the model later. So we can now get straight into the review itself of the locomotive. And so we'll just gently lift the model out. And then once we take the packaging to one side, and then we took the camera off the tripod, we are then free to have a look at the locomotive in detail. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the weight, and this is a heavy model, so there's a lot of weight in this, which is good because we need all the weight, because the weight provides the traction. And this model does need all the traction it can get because, well, if it doesn't have any traction, it can't pull trains. So it is important that this model has plenty of weight in it, and there's a lot of weight in this, so she won't have a problem. So now we move on to the detail. So we have metal buffers, and they are sprung, as you can see. I don't have much care for sprung buffers, as I say quite often in these review videos, but they're there. And if you like your sprung buffers, then they'll keep you happy. On the buffer beam we have a dummy coupling hook, and a vacuum pipe and an air pipe, as well as the locomotive's run number, 1002, crisply printed there on the front of the buffer beam, and that looks really nice. We have an M tension lock coupling. It does stick out though quite a bit, as you can see. It is only a minor thing, but it does stick out quite a bit, especially as well because you can see the M socket there. But that doesn't really matter too much because I'm going to remove the coupling on the front of the loco anyway. So it's not really a major problem. On the running board we have separately fitted lamp irons. On the smoke box door we have separately fitted smoke box door darts, as you can see there. Separately fitted lamp irons, as you can see. And I do love that the smoke box door hinges and the rim around the smoke box door there has been painted a chrome colour, and that really does look nice on this model in this livery. We also have some painted detail underneath the smoke box door, as you can see there, which not entirely sure what it's there for, but it's there and it looks nice. And there's a couple of rivets there as well on the steam chest. We have a very nice chimney, and I like the painted copper cap, which I believe is meant to be copper. And it does look quite nice, in my opinion. It's a very nice colour. We have the reversing lever, as you can see there, that's separately fitted. We've also got some daylights under the boiler as well. And inside there you can just about see we have some detail parts in there to make it look like inside motion, which looks nice. Then we also have the sandbox with the wheel arch, which looks nice. There is even some detail on top of that, and at the front of it some rivet detail. We've also got a separately fitted metal handrail on the model, and the condensing apparatus there. A separately fitted metal handrail on the front of the water tank. We have the water filler cap. The don't open on the water tanks, but then I don't really expect them to, and if they did they'd probably make the model more expensive. But it's there and it does have some nice detail on it, including that little handle used to open it, and that's separately fitted on it. We have a very nice little dome there in the middle of the boiler. And then we move on to the safety valve and the whistle, which are there on the model and present. One thing I have noticed with the whistle though, there's two whistles on this model actually. That one there seems to be a bit of black paint on the front there, so it hasn't been painted all that correctly. But I'm going to repaint that into my old colour, so that won't be too much of a major issue. Not something we should have to do really, but oh well, never mind. But to be fair, I'm glad it is on the whistle really instead of anywhere on the body. We have glazing in the cab windows, and the window rims, or trims you could call them rather, they are painted, and so they do look nice. In the windows on the sides of the cab, there's also glazing in those as well. Separately fitted handrails in the doorway there on the cab. We have a number plate on the bunker there with the locomotive's run number 1002, and that does look really nice. It's crisply printed, but the detail on it does look quite nice. Not much of interest to talk about on the cab roof, but we do have some nice rivet detail on there. We now move on to the side rods, and they are painted a really nice red colour. They do stand out on the model, and that's something I quite like. And they do look quite nice on this livery, I think. Moving on to the cab interior now, you can see the cab floor has been painted, which looks really nice. But also, the inside of the cab interior has been painted, as you can just about see. And it's hard to see, but the cab interior detail has been painted. As you can just about see there, the gauges, the dials, the regulator and the lever, it's all been painted. Like I say, it is hard to see, but it has been painted and it does look really nice, and it adds to the detail and the realism of the model. We have a separately fitted coal rail on the bunker, and painted the same colour as the loco. Glazing in the rear cab windows and guard irons there on the windows too, which are separately fitted. On the rear of the bunker we have a separately fitted handrail, separately fitted lamp irons, brake pipe and air pipe on the buffer beam and the locomotive's running number, crisply printed on the buffer beam as well. Dummy coupling hook and an M tension lock coupling, and of course, like on the front of the loco, sprung metal buffers. We now move on to the livery application, and I really do love this livery, this GER grey livery. It really does look nice, and it's something different as well to run on the layout. You know, and I do like livery variety, as you know. I've got loads of models in loads of different liveries, And in particularly, I could run this on the war train that I'm currently building up, so that would be something quite nice to do. But the livery is very correct. It's a very nice shade of grey, evenly applied with no errors in the paint. And I do love the boiler bands, so they've been painted black. And the, what I believe it's supposed to be the brass or copper band there, just behind the smoke box there, on that front boiler band. That really does look nice. And the livery really is eye-catching in my opinion. It's something that stands out. And of course we've also got the locomotive's running number as well, 1002. Crisply printed on the water tanks, and it's the correct style of numerals as well, and they're crisply applied and they do look really nice. Moving on to the other side of the loco, there are some detailed differences as per the prototype. On this side, for example, it's devoid of the reversing lever because that's on the other side, but we do have some nice pipe work there, as you can see. On this side of the loco we have the Westinghouse pump, and you can see all this piping there that comes out of it, which is separately fitted, and I just love how it runs alongside of the boiler there, which it really does add to the detail. And of course you've got the condensing apparatus on this side, but what is different is you have that steam pipe there on top of it, which you don't get on the other side of the loco, again as per the prototype. Other than that though, the rest of the detail is the same everywhere else. And this model, it really is well detailed. There's no motors burning out, stuttering or grinding noises, or any stuttering movements, or even shortening out anywhere. She runs as she should do, straight from the box. We now move on to the loaded test run for the N7, and I've got her pulling the war train around the layout, which is not complete. This train is still being built up, so when it is a complete rake it will look a lot different, but for now it still looks interesting being hauled on the layout behind the locomotive. And I've had to run it on this line because the wagons on the other line kept derailing for some reason. But as you can see, this is why the weight is so important. There's 8 wagons plus a brake van, so that's 9 in total, and she can manage them with ease. And the wagons are behaving themselves now. Well, she certainly looked quite a sight, didn't she, hauling this war train. I know it's not prototypical for this locomotive, but always remember rule 1. So that's the end of this video, and that brings me on to my conclusion of the model. And it's an absolute stunning model, it really is. I mean, I can't really fault it. I'll gloss over that little niggle with that paint error on the whistle, because I have just touched that up off camera. Not something we should have to do really, but I'll gloss over that, because that is a small little thing. But this model, it really is a stunning model, and it just goes to show you that no matter how long we have to wait for models to come out, the wait is always definitely worth it, and I can highly recommend the Oxford Rail N7. And in my opinion, I think that this model might just be the best model that Oxford Rail have made so far, if not one of the best models they've made. You know, I just can't fault it at all. And with that being said, that brings me on to my score for the model. So I'm going to rate the Oxford Rail N7 a 9 out of 10. This has been Class 47 Peter reviewing the Oxford Rail N7 tank. Again, highly recommend them. Go out and buy one to get for your layout, because you will not be disappointed. I certainly am not. There will be a link in the description below so you can go and order yours should you wish to do so. But subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.